We have 3.5 gig free space. That should be enough. Fingers crossed. All right, cool. So, yeah. Again. So I'm very excited about the upcoming presentation. Ameed is a person who I consider powerful and wise. I like to think about him as the peaceful warrior. I think he's got a lot of value to share. And let me tell a few words about him. Ameed is a professional martial artist, a pilot master student, and a performance coach. He is multilingual and an avid reader, having to build up a library over 1,000 books. His health and motivational learning have helped him to navigate over many challenges in his personal journey. He desires to inform and coach others through his own experiences. And one fun fact, he is a great football fan, although he won't disclose which team he supports. Let's listen Ameed with care. He's got a lot of value to give to you guys. I give the word to Ameed.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you everyone for attending this evening. I'm so grateful that you've all turned up in a large number to come out and listen to me. By a show of hands, could you just tell me, all of you who have a personal aspiration, a dream that you would like to fulfill? A show of hands, please. That's literally everyone. Let me assure you, after today's talk, you will have a greater number of personal tools which you will be able to apply on your daily journey towards your own personal objectives. Let me also assure you that the journey to your dreams is not an easy one. It's filled with great challenge. Indeed, it will require from you great valiant effort to surmount the obstacles that you will face. This is a fact. I will give you mental tools, physical tools that you can implement into your daily life, but I will start with my own personal story and where all of this came about. I was born to two extremely loving, charming parents who absolutely adored me. You might say I was off to a fantastic start. I was the youngest of 9 children. That brought about greater affections from everyone above me and indeed my own parents. I excelled in school with limited effort. Why, I don't know. Languages came very easily to me. Maths, which tends to turn most people off, was a doddle to me. Science became a great hobby for me. And I seem to be progressing very, very well. When I visited travel agents on one occasion with my father, way in the corner I noticed an aircraft that was displayed for the general public. Immediately I seemed to fall in love. I thought, I'll be having that. And my father exchanged words with the travel agent, and to my pleasant surprise I was able to fetch this aircraft home. There began a love affair that would take me through a wonderful journey. I quite obviously would want to become an airline pilot. I advanced through school. I acquired other aspirations that I thought, as young men and women of the world do, that would be of use to me. I was going to be the first man from my family to buy a chateau in France. I was also very ambitious enough to think, I'm going to have a Tuscan villa too. So I learned French. I learned to speak Italian. Way before I was able to know what a Tuscan villa cost, or who buys chateaus in France, for goodness sake. Well, Brad Pitt does, but that's another story. Everything was moving fine. I played football. I became a martial artist. There was some bullying going on at school. And I thought, this is terrible. This can't be allowed to continue. As fate would have it, the universe moulded me to a cinema complex where Bruce Lee was on display in his finery. I thought, I know what I'm going to do with these bullies. And a parallel journey started where I went to the local boxing gym and punched pads until my knuckles bled. I became tough. This toughness was to stand me in good stead. Little did I know. And I'm not advocating violence per se, incidentally, to the group here or to anyone. Self-preservation is one thing, fighting for no apparent reason is another. I learned boxing. I learned kickboxing. I learned jiu-jitsu. I learned Burmese boxing. I studied Greco-Roman wrestling. I studied Olympic wrestling. I fought for my country here in Scotland. I advanced myself. I put myself on the front line because of my father's and my mother's love. There was apparently nothing that I could not do. And you will all be thinking, well, that's all very well, so I take it you've got a chateau that you're going to show us photographs about any moment now. My father was killed at a young age. Something snapped in me. My mother became very sad. I had elder brothers and sisters. Of course they would come in to assist. But little did I know that an entirely new belief pattern was going to embed itself into my psyche. I outwardly was still aspirant. I was still going to buy a chateau. I was going to advance my career. I was going to become a professional pilot and fly the airways of the world. But it was hollow. It was very hollow. It became a struggle for me. I started a business. I was never wanting to do business other than the fact that it brought in funds for me to advance my professional flying. If none of you are aware of it, is a very costly business to train for it. And I thought that the business would fund my flying. It became an entire muddle and a mess. My mentor, my friend, my everything, my father, was no longer there. And unfortunately, I didn't seem to have someone else to take his place. Sometimes through good fortune, an elder brother, an uncle, a master of sorts can come to your assistance at these points. I didn't quite connect. For the ensuing 15 years, I refer to them as the running years. I can't quantify them. if you ask me, so what were you doing? I'll draw a blank. I'll kind of explain to you what I was doing, but to no avail. I have 6 different black belts in different martial arts. I eventually, having spent £50,000, became a professional pilot. And then what did I do? I let the whole thing expire. Everyone in attendance, I had learned helplessness. I had learned to become helpless. Even in attainment, we can become helpless. Outwardly, we're functioning. We're going about our merry way. We all hold our hand up and say, yes, I've got a burning desire to do X, Y, Z. Are you truly committed? I ask you. A burning desire comes in 2 molds. There's one which is just sheer vanity. It sounds good to your loved ones and even to yourself. I'm going to write a book. My name is going on the front of a theatre complex in the West End of London. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to be the greatest fighter. Sounds good and comforting, doesn't it? Are you willing to do what it takes? Because anything less than, forget about it. Some of my coaches would catch people out like this. Hands up if you're going to give 99% to me for the upcoming tournament. And a bunch of hands would go up thinking, 99%, that's quite a lot of effort. I think I'll do that. He'd say, you guys move to the side. Oh, why is that? I'm looking for 100%. 99's not good enough for me, for my team. I'm training Olympic athletes here. You guys are willing to offer me 99%. Sorry, you're out the team. Very hard, isn't it? But let me tell you something. Life is hard. Life will bring you down to your knees. And you'll be wondering, what happened there? What happened there was your conditioning was not up to your expectations of yourself and your aspirations. You thought by talking a good talk to others and indeed yourself and dreaming the dream in some vain discourse and rising the next day and realising, oh my God, have I got to do all that work? Actually, maybe I'll just wait till after Christmas. Maybe I'll wait till Monday comes along and I've got a big event coming up and perhaps I'll just hold back and I'll eat like a horse for the next 6 weeks, and once the wedding's over I'll get back to my eating plan again, and so on it goes. I want to write a book. I've got so much to say to people. But you know what? I've got no experience of writing, so I think I'll just wait till I do 16 courses and then I might just start. Keep waiting, because the book's never going to get written. After the 16 courses, the book will never come out. I'm asking you, to not be ready and step forward into the arena. You say to me, what, you mean I'm not fully functioning and I'm not ready, but I'm still to step forward? Yes. Fall down. Your best learnings are about to occur. Don't be afraid. Fear is the mind killer. In a competitive match, in a competition, my God, there's fear. See the guy opposite you, he is going to kick your head in. You've got no place to hide. You're not even a member of 11 on a football pitch where you can hide in one little corner and hopefully not receive the ball and make out like you did a lot of running on the pitch. You've got no place to hide in a cage, octagon, or a boxing ring, or on a wrestling mat. You had better rise at 5 a.m. in the morning and start running. You had better go to the gym and press your body till you can't breathe. You had better fuel your body with the correct nutrition, because you're going to be very sick very quickly. This, ladies and gentlemen, is conditioning. Now, your conditioning may be somewhat different because you're not thinking of winning a medal. You're not got an opponent in front of you in a ring. You'll be thinking, I'm telling you, you've got an opponent. It resides in your very own head. You may give it several names, from monkey, I'm not going to use any expletives, critic. It will talk. It will tell you how utterly useless you are and what stupid ideas you have come up with that you think you're going to fulfill. So how do we silence this? 3 steps to developing willpower. Victor was manipulating the video camera and the microphone by pressing buttons. Now, we are not machinery, but I want you to acquire a personal set of switches where you can thought stop where required by anchoring yourself into something like a button and pressing that pause button when your mind goes out of control. This will not happen overnight. This will take time, care, effort, love on your part. Then I would like you to gradually erase from your mindset all those negative attributes, those little voices that keep pestering you when you're trying to get to bed at night, when you rise in the morning, when you embark on a new journey that says you can't. And most important of all, you have to replace this internal dialogue with very positive emotions. You should have mentors who are alive, preferably, whom you can go to, and even passed away, in fact, because this is a technologically advanced, information-rich world. There is probably not a single person alive whom you cannot relate to by accessing information about them. So you have an aspiration, but you know of someone who did it 1,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 50 years ago. You can access information on this person. And then you quite literally will read this person, study this person, think this person through, assimilate all the attributes from this person. I promise you, in terms of principles, you will literally become this person. You will have to sit still in the silence. In this God-soaked, loved, powerful universe, it awaits your calling. But it asks you to sit still and speak to yourself using positive self-dialogue, self-direction. People find it difficult to sit still. I find that quite remarkable. To stop themselves from a complete chaotic array of activity. Can't do it. The minute your eyes open in the morning, it's, oh, I've got to get ready, I've got to do this, better get this, but it's all day long. It's ceaseless. You're working on a conscious mind. You have a reservoir right behind it which has access to literally everything that's ever happened in history of mankind that is available to you. And you're not willing to step back from that chaotic self, to silence yourself for a while, sit still for starting with short periods and leading to longer periods, and allow the rays of energy to course through your veins, to build you from the inside out. You say to me, at least the majority of you raised your hands when I said you had a dream, you had a personal aspiration. Are you willing to commit? Because if you're just interested, that's what a lot of people are, quite frankly, that I've known. They'll do what's interesting to them, what they think they can manage. That's not commitment, I'm afraid. Commitment requires of you this: you will do whatever it takes. Hey, listen, this is your life. This is your dream. This is not someone's imposed action upon you. I ask you to look into yourself. We are spiritual beings. Whether you believe in a religion or not, that's besides the point. We need to nurture our soul. Have you seen the state of Hollywood? What's wrong with Hollywood, do you think? They got all the money in the world, the biggest cars, the biggest houses. You could get all of us into one of their rooms. But they're all in rehab. Something distinctly wrong about that. So if it was just about the money, and it was just about being famous, and it was just about the acclaim, surely when we've achieved all this, that's it. We're fine, we're sorted. Nope. It's the beginning of a greater, grandiose downfall. Why? Because you never built yourself from the inside out. You thought that when I acquire XYZ stuff, I'm going to ingest that into me. I'm going to drive the flashiest car you've ever seen. And my house, remember my chateau in France, is going to make me wonderful. It never did. And when challenge came, and when difficulties arose, I had fallen apart. Remember I said my father had gone. He lives in my heart, but physically I couldn't relate to him. Is there something we can do every day? Absolutely. Leslie touched upon it actually by coincidence. She said, I'm starting to do things that terrify me. I thought, wonderful, that's poetic to me. Because in essence, our primal instinct is to do those things that we find most challenging. We must not shun difficulty, challenge. We must not hide behind excuse, stimulants, games of chance. They're temporary and fleeting. I can go out and drink as much wine as I like and make myself entirely happy and oblivious to any issue I may have, and then feel downright damn miserable the next day. So much for that method. I can buy new clothes and I could be marching down the street like John Travolta with a swagger and think, oh, life's cool, life's great. By the end of the evening, I've just walked myself silly and not really got anywhere. It's always, ladies and gentlemen, from the inside out. You have to humble yourselves. You must remove the ego. By all means, if you wish to drive a Ferrari, put one on order, but raise your heart first. Raise what's inside of you first before you get into that Ferrari. That will be the measure of you, not the Ferrari. The Ferrari will be just a nice tool that you liked. Fine. Why shouldn't you? If you've earned it, you should. But if it's your raison d'être en français, it's the most shallowest thing in the world. You have to have a higher purpose than yourself. You have to have a why. Why are you in this world? What are you doing? The whats and whys, when they're answered and dealt with, will become drivers for you in your time of need. And by God, you're going to be needing it. Because you're going to stutter and stumble and fall. Everything I've said is very relevant. That does not excuse you from stumbling and falling. Because that's still going to happen. The big, bad, scary monster's still going to surface. But do you know what the difference is going to be? You're conditioned. You know where you're at. You've served the apprenticeship. Have you heard of the All Blacks? You know who I'm talking about, the All Blacks? Rugby team, New Zealand rugby team. A beautiful team of rugby players. Why are they beautiful? Not just because they are the toughest, hardest, ruthlessest men that you could ever imagine, but they condition themselves. Sorry, we're having an issue over there with the camera. Okay. Pause. Back on. Okay. They're not just rugby players. They're all blacks when they wake up in the morning, when they have their dinner, when they sit with their loved ones. They're still all blacks. They're taught a mindset. You are an all black whether you're in the shirt or out the shirt off the pitch. You represent us. Don't be denigrating us. If you do, you're not one of us. You might be the greatest rugby player ever, but you're not one of us, so we won't welcome you in the team. They're vetted. Great players are said, no, your ego is bigger than this hotel. You cannot play for us. Pause.
Again?
So maybe it's a good time for a pause and a little reflection and perhaps some questions from everyone. If there's anything that anyone wishes to clarify, ask, or...
I think that's fantastic. That's what I've been striving for and doing, and it's just at the end of the most shitty and challenging 2 weeks that I've hardly slept a night. I can get 1 and 2 hours sleep. Fear of death, that's just brought me back to them.
Well done, Ryan.
Got to say that.
You're a warrior.
I'm good.
When you're a warrior, this is just meat and drink for you. And you'll come right on the other side of that. That's the way you were built. That's the way you were destined to be.
It's charged me, and it's as if it's just woken me up again.
Very good.
And it's the first time I've listened to every single word that somebody said in a long time.
No problem.
1 week, Victor handed out bookmarks that his wife made for us
Right.
with inspirational quotes. And the one I picked without seeing what it was an Einstein quote, better to be a man of value than a man of success.
Yep.
I was thinking of that when you were speaking.
Yes.
Like, you may have all the accolades in the world, but if you're not a good person, then it's worth nothing.
It's very hollow, isn't it?
I've got a question for you. What did you do to actively practice the art of storytelling? Or is it just kind of, you know, that?
I'm a very passionate man. You may have gathered that. Someone said to me this expression, which I originally never understood, that I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I sought to help someone, my mother's blessings are upon me. She was a very spiritual lady. I naturally inclined myself to people. Like Barbara helped someone the other day, she was saying on the way home, I cannot but want to help people. And the stories and the anecdotes and everything associated with that came from within me. I ran this morning at 4:30 a.m. My head was totally clear, and stories came to me in abundance that I could talk from now till next week about, but don't worry, I won't. When you silence yourself, I'm sorry, are we continuing at the moment? Or
Yeah.
before I continue, actually, did I answer your question, first of all? Anyone else got any comments, questions?
Something is like, I mean, this is a kind of tough love, what hard to find, to be honest, because we have all these commercials and they all really lined up to trigger either like a scarcity mentality or trigger desires, but they don't tell us how much we need to work for it. They mostly tell some kind of scheme what obviously you need to buy. So thank you for the tough love, first of all. The other thing is that I see, and maybe others can relate to this, I see the difference. I mean, you telling your example, and obviously I see the difference, but the obvious question in me is, okay, I see the difference, how do I close that gap? So you told the key is conditioning, right? So is it about finding the tools for conditioning yourself.
Yes.
Is it just
Yes.
and persistency?
Yes, I'll answer
What
that as a group.
what would you tell
Yeah.
about this?
You have to see, everyone has their own personal aspiration. So there's a knowledge bank, an acquisition of a knowledge bank relative to your needs. You have to acquire all the knowledge relative to what it is you're trying to achieve. You have to have persistence in pursuing that knowledge. Remember, it's personal to you. It's important to you. You cannot then shortchange yourself. You have to acquire the training methods to attain this knowledge, because otherwise obstacle will come and you'll think, I think I'll stop for a while. Why will you stop for? Would you stop eating for a while? Would you stop having your favourite drink? Would you stop watching your favourite show? So why are you stopping this great path that you're on? So keep going. Persistence. Belief is utterly and completely essential. Like I said, I had great beliefs, and then suddenly something snapped in me and I became hollow. And the good news is that you can return to your believing self, but you have to quieten yourself and go into those places where you do not go on a regular basis, to literally find yourself. Because in pursuing those things that Victor's alluding to, then you introduce yourself to your true self, whom you really are, and not that person whom Victor was saying that you're relating to from the commercials, from what other people put into your head, your peers, your family, TV commercials, other people's aspirations. You think, oh, that sounds quite interesting. Well, it may be interesting, but it's of no use to you because you'll not be the truth. I call it authenticity. If it's not authentic to you, it will be short-lived. It will be extremely short-lived. And if you are to be authentic, you have to live your truth. I was interested in Rocky's comment at the beginning. He said, my win was I win all the time. That's a very powerful tool he just used there. The affirmation has to be true to you. I can lie to you. I cannot lie to myself. Because by doing so, my subconscious takes note of it. That he essentially is a fibber. He actually lies to himself. I will not fulfill his dream. Can you believe that? Your own subconscious will not fulfill your dream. It won't take you on the path because you're cheating yourself. And conversely, it will open the doors for you. There's a specific part of the brain known as the reticular activating system. If, for example, you wanted to buy a red car and there's a specific car that you like, a Fiat, and you like your Fiat and you never thought of them before, they will...
Okay, just continue.
Just continue.
It's all right.
You will start noticing red cars. And some of them will be Fiats. You think, wait a minute, have red Fiats suddenly appeared in the city? What's happened is your internal reference system is working in your favour at the moment. It's making and turning you into a servo-assisted machine, almost. It's bringing about those things for you and putting them in full view for you. Now soak it up. Well, you had to tell the truth in the beginning. Personal excellence requires that of you. If you are just faking it and you're amusing yourself and others, loved ones are the best, especially over dinner, tell great stories about what wonderful things you're going to do. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend, anybody, your partner, Anyone willing to listen, tell them all the great stories. You know you're just kidding yourself on, and you're being noted. You'll walk away quite happy and contented. Well done. But you're being noted. And your RAS is not activated. In fact, you've diffused it. Hiding behind a book is no use without the action. The first 500 books I read, nothing happened. 500 books later, nothing happened. What the hell's that all about? I thought all these guys were gurus of just about everything going to mankind. The next 500, however, I got better. Aha! So you're meant to take action on the knowledge that you've acquired. When Genghis Khan first tried to rule the world, he was just a barbarian of his native Mongolia. However, someone stole his wife. Now, some of you guys might be out enjoying yourself if that something like that happened to you. Someone's taken her away from me eventually. But he was very upset. He thought, this can't be allowed to go on. This is barbaric. We're stealing each other's women, we're pillaging, we're robbing each other. He tried to unify. He did not have an inkling that he was going to rule the greatest land empire in the history of civilization. Not an inkling. But then something twigged in him. His subconscious became his greatest ally. He unified Mongolia, and there his story began. This is the way we are conditioned to be if we allow ourselves to be. I will continue after a small break of further questioning if someone has any further questions on anything I've just said or something specific that has arisen in their mind.
What do you do if you've got a dream and you make like a tentative step towards it and then your nearest and dearest crush it under their heels?
Yes, that's a legitimate, perfectly legitimate. It's your nearest and dearest that usually are sadly the greatest enemy, and it's the nearest and dearest. If Joe Blogs tried to crush your dream, you wouldn't be affected. But because they're heartfelt connections, blood connections, etc., that's where the hurt sets in. And I say to you that nothing and no one must mentally cripple you. And then that's back to your own personal belief patterns and your own conditioning. Because it's your life, you see. No one else's life. Everyone has a comment. Oh, my God, they've got comments. You try to do something and think, what do you want to do that for? What's that all about? Who do you think you are? Or so you're going to take over the world, are you? And you're going to build this empire, and you're going to be an actress, and you're going to write a book. You're going to be the top of your profession. Yeah, very good. Keep dreaming. And walk away from certain people, quite frankly, with all due respect, are toxic. I don't know why they're toxic. It's their problem. What anyone's opinion is of me is their problem and not mine. Step aside from toxic people, because they will savage and ravage all of your energy, all of your aspirations. If the people in question are relatives and closer than that, I mean, if it's a partner, you might want to review your own partnership there. If it's, however, relatives, then perhaps you can't sever the ties entirely, but you can protect yourself. I personally have a shield, an armour I call it, where I rise also in the morning and do my rituals where I shield myself from such people. Ritualistically. An total invisible shield of armour. I'm sorry, but you can bring me down, you can hit me, kick me, but you will never break me. You cannot break me. I'm looking in the eyes of every single one of you and telling you right now, nothing and no one must break you. You must acquire that mental set where nothing and no one can break you. I do not own a villa in Tuscany. I speak very good Italian. I taught myself. I might still get a villa in Tuscany. Do you know when I'll stop? When I'm dead. Not a moment before. I check my pulse every day to make sure I'm still alive. And if I am, I'm still in the game. Little by little, do your steps. Little by little. Let's not run before we can walk. Let's not walk before we've learned to crawl. In F1 driving, in Formula 1 driving, it's milliseconds they improve by. Have you noticed that? If you're a F1 fan at all, it's not minutes, it's seconds and less than a second. The driver improves his driving. In rugby, it's percentages. Now with technology, they can enhance their personal skill set by knowing how often they caught the ball when it was passed to them. So at the end of the game, the manager will go to the player and say, do you know that you only had a 60% catch rate today? Did I? Well, there's the proof. Oh, I need to work on my catching. You guys find out what you need to do. Break it down. Where am I strong? Where am I not so strong? Where am I very weak? Am I emotionally weak? Am I physically weak? Then you have to set about tasks to work on it. And it's a daily process. It's not once in a while when you feel like it. It's daily. Failure to do it daily means that you're not in the game. You don't want to be an all black. You just want to be that person that likes to just talk a good talk. They don't want to walk the walk. Do you know how much effort it took me with a father having passed away to become a pilot? With hollowness in my heart. Don't tell me life is hard. I studied. Exams. Passed minimum 75% for each exam I got. I'm doing a master's degree in London University right now in air transport. It's a passion. It will never leave me. I not only want to know how aeroplanes fly, I want to know how airports operate and how airlines function. So, what do? I go to London City University where they have this course and ask for membership. And that's where I'm doing a master's degree. No one forced me to do it. I did it. That's aspiration. I have to work for it. I have never worked in an airport. I have never worked in an airline. I have had 4 distinctions, 5 merits in the modules I've done so far. And the professor who accepted me way back in the beginning said, you're going to find this very difficult. Very difficult. You're not in the airline industry. I know you've become a pilot, but you're not in the industry. He said, you leave that to me, Professor. I've never let him down. Most of all, I've never let myself down. Whether I like it or not, I sit with the books and I read the books. And when the class fellows arrive at 9 a.m. in the morning, do you know what? I've been sitting there since 7 a.m. with my books already open. They don't know this. They think I've just come in just before them. I've been in there since 7 o'clock in the morning reading, because I'm not in the industry and they all are. I need to do more work. Are you willing to do more work for yourselves in those things you want? Rise early, sleep late, eat better, sit still. Are you willing to do that? Because if you are, it's in your grasp. Your destiny is in your hands. I'm going to finish now with the words of Socrates, 550 BC. No citizen should be an amateur in matters of physical and mental training. What a disgrace. What a disgrace for someone to go through life and in never seeing the strength and beauty of which his mind and body were capable of. Thank you.
Thank you, Ameed. Yeah, it was really deep, and as I said, I think it's very rare cases you hear these kind of tough love words. So yeah. I will have some stuff to think about. So yeah, I mean, any kind of questions or any kind of thoughts, if you have, you can share it.
So I would like to ask a question, sir.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the first steps is to actually get into the arena.
Yeah.
But the useful thing is, you were very well said, is that you talk yourself into not doing that. So what do you actually have to do so that your unconscious becomes your biggest ally? What do you have to tell yourself? What exactly? Which words? What do you actually sustain yourself with every day, every minute, every hour, so that getting into the arena becomes the only natural step to progress forward?
Have you ever been in love?
Yes.
When with a person, presumably, not an aeroplane like me. I used to go up to Glasgow Airport and soak up jet fumes. It was so silly, it's not real, but there we go. So you're in love with a person.
Yeah.
Tell me what you wouldn't do for her. Very little, if I may answer you in advance.
Thanks.
In other words, no matter what, you would be there. Whether you wanted to, if she liked Murder, She Wrote, you happened to like it with her. That was a TV programme series, incidentally. It was mind-numbing in some ways, but because she loved it, you thought, do you know what, I'm going to start watching this because, my love here wants it. So it became a magnet for you. When you have a why, it becomes your magnet. The arena holds no fears. Passion is your driver. The why is your cause.
Okay, what if you don't know what your why is?
You have to sit still. You have to sit still because, as Deborah has just intimated, you don't have a why at the moment. You have a why to be alive, however, but maybe not an aspiration as such. But from a brief conversation I had with you at the beginning, you said you were helping children to better themselves in life. There's a why. Your contribution is a why. your contribution to society. This is not all about me, myself and I. Neon lights, I've made the money, I've got the car, I own the chateau. Something as beautiful as this. I help lots of children find themselves. Could there be a greater why? There is a why. Future generations, that's your legacy. Your legacy, when you depart this life, could be I helped numerous children grow up to be the finest adults that they could be. I contributed to that. There's a why. I'm not saying that's the why, but I'm saying that could be the why. The universe will always align you if you let it. Can you sit still long enough? Don't rack your brain. This is not about racking your brain, consciously writing things down and some miracle's about to happen. No, it's about doing the opposite effect, stepping away, detachment. Your why will come. He, she, it will come.
When you talk about sitting still, you're advocating meditation.
Meditation, prayer, silence, solitude. In the forest. Forest is as good place as any. Hear the sounds. You will never have heard sounds like it. You'll think you'll be living in a different world, and you have, when you hear those sounds.
So it's basically like we can't like solve this puzzle by our thinking mind because it's just not its nature.
It's not
There
clever
is
enough.
the other hemisphere of the mind, what basically all about, how would I say, it's more like an antenna, and it can't really grasp, can't be really grasped by words how it works. It's more of, it's already in you, and if you just silence, you more just allow it to be seen. Is it?
Yes. Well, it would be another talk if Victor allows for another day, but there's a metaphysical existence. Metaphysical? They thought atoms were the smallest amount of matter in the universe. Nope. Bosons, mesons, gluons, photons. Smaller still. Here's the strange thing. See, when you look at them, they alter to your thoughts. What's that all about? The particle is altering itself and forming not of itself but to your thought. So in other words, we're creators. We are the creators, we're the masters of our destiny. And so when we delve, it transpires. Don't be expecting an easy journey in the midst of all this though, please. That's at the top of the agenda here. I don't know what planet we have to emigrate to for the easy journey phase of life, but in this earth, not happening. So don't be expecting an easy journey. However, the good news is toughen yourself up. Physically toughen yourself up. Emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and so on. Toughen yourself up. Do those things, 1%. Every second counts. Every yard. Measure. Measure yourself. Have a barometer. Where am I going with this? What happened the last time when I tried something? I fell apart. Oh, so I must have gone off at a tangent. Yes, you did. Come back. Start again from that point where you were strong. Sorry, Peter, you were...
So is the main kind of point just now that we all have this upper, outward person of us that we show to everyone else.
Yep.
It could be financial, exams, whatever, but actually our true self is down here.
Yes.
So is that a question of being able to sit still enough,
Yep.
often enough,
Yep.
to remove this person and let this one rise?
Correct. Absolutely. There's a huge gap between the two. And until we bridge that gap and we don't become authentic, we will be kind of chasing our tails. Let me tell you the truth. I don't want a chateau in France anymore. I'm so fulfilled. I thought the chateau in France was going to define me. It doesn't. I can go to France anytime I want, walk around along a Paris boulevard and be totally deliriously happy. Thank you very much. Go into a French cafe, je voudrais un croissant avec, just whatever. I love it. I don't need the chateau. However, the chateau may still come, if I want. Anyone else?
What the hell is the chateau?
The Chateau of Versace. It's just a big house, a large house. I wanted a large house because I liked French and I liked Italy, and so it's materialistic things that can sometimes,
Think.
Actually, one thing for me, you help me to find the answers for a lot of questions in myself, but one interesting thing, and I was really surprised that I know that before that you are a great talker, so you can speak really in an interesting way what caught my attention for you, but I didn't knew that silence is an important thing when you're communicating, and that was the one what I find interesting. So it's good when you're talking, but it's also good when you're not talking.
Yep.
So these two things were really great. So when you just not talking and let the silence help us to find some answers or questions in ourselves, and that's a really great way to speak with others. And I really thank you. And I also think that you gave me a really solid stepstone to go to a correct way in my life forward. So I want to thank you. It's kind of experience.
What Adam's saying is that leaders are made of this. Leaders don't just talk. Do you know what they do more than talk? Listen. That's what makes a great leader. The listening set. 2 ears, 1 mouth, someone said. Listening. That makes great leaders because they assimilate the energy, the feeling of everyone, and then they relay it and share it. So something for yourselves to take away as well in that front.
I have another question if I'm not asking too many. You said last week that religion's very important to you, as it is to me, although we're different religions. What would you have done if your religion had got in the way of your path? Like, for example, like when I was at university, a lot of the exams were on the Sabbath, so I had to change it and do it a different day. That was fine, I could do that.
Yep.
But there's some things that, because of the Sabbath, I've just been told, no, you can't come and do this course at all.
Right.
So what would you do if your faith, like, if there was an exam on one of your holy days and you couldn't do it, or something about your faith got in the way of your dream?
Okay. I think that's a rarity, however, Barbara, would you not say it's not the convention? Well, I would still do the thing, but because if you're talking of religion, then in religion they talk about the merciful deity, the compassionate deity. That being the case, and if something is impeding your progress and exams are being missed, courses are being shortened, then I would do those things with the proviso that I clear it with my deity, that I'm saying, look, I'm doing it for a purpose and I'm not just ignoring the edicts and the precepts of the faith. I'm not just messing you about, if you like, if you believe in it, of course, but you have to do what you have to do, but you don't necessarily go against the precepts of the faith. You can still manage this life, I think, very comfortably and still profess faith, spirituality or whatever else. I think, in fact, faith sometimes can help, and certainly spirituality should help. Otherwise we're incomplete. So we have to consider all of these things.
Okay, guys, thank you a lot. I would like to progress and wrap up the event. So I thank you a lot, Ameed. And I thank you guys for all of the questions, for all of your attention, and I hope that you get a lot out of this. Maybe there are a lot of things to think about, to find answers for, things like this. It will come, and keep up, and keep with the group. So I would like to do the goal settings. Okay, so goal settings for the next week, because here in Empowering Mastermind, the accountability and taking action, as we just heard, is really the spine of progressing in life. And progressing in life, it doesn't matter that you're not already the best yourself. You already are, you're already perfect. It's more of an expression, as I like to think about it, expressing who you are, get knowing better who you are. So let's set goals, and I started again to make it easier for you guys. So my goal for next week, so I've done research on daily rituals, and I refine my daily rituals, although there are more stuff to do. Maybe this will be something I will never stop to do, refining my daily ritual. But something I want to do, I want to write down the empowering day description for myself, and I want to write down the first version for next week. So I'm gonna write down the empowering day description. So what's rituals, supplements, thoughts, values, questions. So what helped me to align with things I value. So that's for me for next week. Are you comfortable to set up a goal for next week? You never done this before?
No, I've never been here before, but I'll do it anyway.
Good.
So I think for next week, you spoke a lot about morning rituals, and I think that's something that I've always known in the back of my mind, that it's so important for achievement, but I always put it to the back and tell myself I'm not a morning person, but I need to nail that. That's my goal for next week.
My goal is to get back to the gym. I sprained my ankle, so I've been out of the gym for 2 months, and my ankle's been fine for the past 2 weeks. But I've been making excuses to myself every day as to why I shouldn't go. So I went yesterday, and so it's just to kind of keep that up and get back in a routine of going all the time, because after a while it's easy anyway, then a ritual, but I need to force myself to actually go for the first week or two. So that's my goal.
I want to keep practicing setting a ritual every morning of meditation exercise. Not do that every 2 days or every time I say, okay, that's time to do that, but actually stick to a schedule every day.